Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Shane, and today I'm bringing you another story time, but instead of it being just one big story time, it's actually gonna be 4 mini stories within this one video. So if you want to hear some really embarrassing waitressing stories, then please keep watching. So if you have been around my channel for a little while, or if you keep up to date with my vlogs, or even have watched any vlogs recently, you'll know that I had gotten a new job working as a waitress. Now before that, I had worked at a restaurant from when I was 14 to 21, so I had a lot of experience in the restaurant field, but never as a waitress. So the whole waitressing thing was brand new to me. So needless to say, I didn't have a lot of experience, and 4 really embarrassing things happened to me. But hey, at least we got a funny video out of it, right? So the first story that I'm going to tell you, now keep in mind all of these are really short, so it's not like I have a super lengthy story to go along with each one of these. But the first story that I'm going to talk to you guys about happened on my very first day, like by myself. We went through a really extensive training process. There was a week of like hardcore training, and then I would shadow some of the waitresses and waiters to get an idea of what I should be saying and questions to be asked and all that fun stuff. So this was my first day, like on the floor by myself, no training to help me, and I had worked in an Italian restaurant, and I'm saying it in the past tense because I actually quit only 2 weeks into the job. I ended up just really not liking it at all, like just not even waitressing in general, just working really with the company. But I worked at an Italian restaurant, and there are so many out there, so feel free to guess if you really want to. But with each meal we bring like a cheese grater, so you know, you would go and give the person their meal and then ask if they want shredded cheese on top. That is my daughter, by the way, for people who might not be familiar. I'm not sure what she's doing. But I had got up to this couple. It was an older couple. It was a woman and a man. I'm assuming they were a married couple, and I gave them their meals, and I asked them, you know, would you like some extra shredded cheese on your dish? And they agreed. So I went ahead and I did the man's first, which technically in like restaurant, you know, like the proper way to serve somebody is to do the woman first, but I was brand new, I was nervous, I wasn't thinking of all the details, so I went ahead and did the man first. And I'm honestly glad I did, because I was holding the cheese grater, and there's a hole on one side, and then on the other, like on the top, oh yeah? On the top is where you put like the cheese in, and then on the side you have a handle. So I went ahead and I held out the grater and I started cranking the handle, and I didn't think about where the hole that dispenses the cheese was as I was grating. So as I was turning the handle, I'm cracking. Oh my god, guys, it took me everything not to die at this table. All the cheese is coming out of the side of the grater, so it's getting all over the guy, and I'm like mid-turn, I was like, oh my god, I am so sorry. But he was totally fine about it. He was whatever, he's like, it happens. But yeah, that was story number 1. Story number 2. So the place that I worked also had a full bar, but they also had, you know, your regular bottled beers, they had draft beers. But if they have a bottled beer, my company's policy was to pour it at the table in a Pilsner glass. If you don't know what Pilsner glass is, it's basically like just a tall beer glass. It has a little bit of a curve to it. So I went over and I went over with the Pilsner glass, I went over with a bottle of beer, and this time it was another couple. No one's gonna take me seriously because they're too busy staring at what you're doing. They're staring at what you're doing. They're staring at what you're doing. So I went over with the Pilsner glass and the bottle of beer. We also had wine keys, which I really wish I had it with me, but it's not that big of a deal to the story, so I'll pass on that. So I went over, I cracked the bottle open, and then I put the Pilsner glass down, and I proceeded to start pouring the beer into the Pilsner glass. So I'm pouring it, and you can see, you know, the beer, you can see the foam is rising. So I stopped pouring when I think is a good place. It was about like 3/4 full, because I'm like, all right, the foam is gonna rise, but it has plenty of space to rise. Oh no, I did not give it plenty of space at all. I see the foam rising, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like, oh no. I'm literally saying this out loud at their table. I'm like, oh no, don't you dare, don't you dare. And the foam is rising so fast. So I'm like, we are also a tray service restaurant. Like, we always had to carry a tray with us. So I grabbed the Pilsner glass real quick that was just about to overflow, threw it on top of my, oh my god, oh my god, are you okay? Oh my, I love you. I just saved her. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to watch this back and see what you guys saw, because she walked over to me. I'm sitting on my bed. She walked over to me, but her foot went off the edge and she fell off the bed, but I caught her. So like, that was so crazy. I'm sorry. I know I adjusted the tripod. I accidentally kicked it when she fell. Oh my goodness. But anyways, so that story. So I put the Pilsner glass on top of my tray, and it was overflowing everywhere. I'm like, I am so sorry. I will grab you another beer, but they were totally cool with it. I didn't get them wet or anything, and they got their beer. Story number 3 takes a little bit of a rougher turn, but going along the same line of the beer, there was a family of 4 that I was serving, and everything was going fine. I mean, I was still new, so I didn't know, like, they had asked me a couple questions I wasn't sure about, but that I got the answer for them. So they definitely knew that I was new and I didn't know, everything right then and there. But they were still really cool people. And they, had ordered their drinks. And the father had gotten a not a Blue Moon, a Harpoon IPA ale from the draft. So when they order it from the draft versus the bottle, the bar already puts it in a Pilsner glass for me. So all I have to do is deliver it. So I bring over their drinks, everything goes smoothly, everything goes fine. Their appetizers come out, I give them their appetizers, everything's going smoothly, everything is going fine. Then I proceed to somebody, like the dad, it was, let me see if I can remember. Actually, have you guys, I was gonna say maybe face this way. Anyways, I think the 2 kids were on one side, and then the dad was on the outside, and then the mom was on the inside. So the mom had finished something. I think she had a dirty plate or something, and another policy of the restaurant that I worked for was pre-bus. Like, they ingrained that into our heads. So like, constantly take away, she's tapping the tripod, constantly take away dirty dishes. So that's what I was doing. So I said, oh ma'am, like, are you done with that? I'll take that away from you. So she's like, yeah, and then like kind of scooched back so I could reach over and grab it. So I reached over, grabbed whatever it is, I'm just gonna call it a plate for the sake of this video, and I came back and my elbow bumped the Pilsner glass that was holding the beer. Now, this does not make any sense to me at all. Literally, the beer like defied the laws of gravity. I tried to say gravity and physics at the same time. It tried to defy the law of physics, and instead of, I bumped it this way, so instead of falling the way it should have, it fell forward on top of the table, like covering everything. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I am so sorry. The mom and the dad like jumped up because they thought they were gonna get wet. I'm like, I'm grabbing all of their napkins and I'm trying to clean it up, and I'm like, I am so sorry. I said, I'll be back with another beer. I'll be back with more napkins. Luckily, I didn't get anybody wet, but needless to say, it was really embarrassing. Number 4 is probably the funniest out of all of them, at least in my opinion, because it wasn't something that everybody saw, or like it didn't happen with a customer. This was sort of like something that happened to me that nobody really knew about until I told them. So that's why it was kind of funny, because it's kind of an inside joke with myself for a while. But what happened, oh yeah? What happened is that my uniform consisted of an apron. So we had to wear a really long apron in the front. Now, I'm very, very, very thin. I've actually been losing a lot of weight due to a lot of exercising and stuff. So I'm even thinner than I was. So I had this apron, but it did not it didn't tie tight enough in the back. So I tried everything to make this thing stay up. I would tie it, you know, in a double knot. I would tie it around and then back around and then tie it in the front. Like nothing would stay. Finally, I found out that if you put it like through your belt loops, it helps a lot, just in case anybody else is having that issue. But before I found out that trick, I was carrying a tray. I think this was actually a night where I was only doing food runs, so I would grab whatever food is ready and go to any table that it was for. I wasn't waitressing this particular night, so I was, needless to say, doing a lot of walking, a lot of running around, and I had a tray of drinks in my hand, and you know, obviously I'm wearing my entire uniform, and I'm walking to the bar. And all of a sudden, I'm walking, everything's fine. All of a sudden, I kind of feel like weird on my hips. Like something's kind of like pulling or pushing at my hips. And I look down and my apron is sliding down. So now it's like, it's literally around here at this point. So I'm like, oh my god. So I'm trying to like hike up the apron while carrying the drink still, all while trying to play it off like I know what I'm doing and that I'm not new. But it made it all the way down to just about my knees, like right about here. So I'm walking like this, carrying this tray, like trying to hike up the apron. Like I said, luckily nobody really saw it. It was a super busy day, so everybody was really kind of crowded in. I was trying to waddle. I had to put the tray down on a table and fix my apron. It was just a mess. But that is gonna be it for my story time of my 4 embarrassing waitressing stories. If you have any, if you're a waitress, please go ahead and leave them down in the comments. Make me feel a little bit better about myself. Also, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. It definitely helps me out and lets me know that you like videos like this. You can also hit that subscribe button down below if you want to be notified about my next video, and then hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Bye!